I am Dr. Jessica Friedman from MedEdits Medical Admissions, and I wanted to talk about AMCAS verification today because many of our students we find have questions about AMCAS verification, the timeline, what's required. So I wanted to quickly discuss some details about AMCAS verification, and you can also refer to the article that is on our website, and we will link that below. And I'm going to be just going through that today. So first of all, what exactly is required to be verified by AMCAS? The first thing that you need is you need a completed AMCAS application. So that means completing every single part of the application, your identifying information, your biographical information, the schools you've attended, your coursework. We're going to talk about that in more detail, your work and activities, and of course, your personal statement. Now, in order to be verified, you only need to apply to one medical school. Certainly, many students decide to add on medical schools, especially if they have a pending MCAT score that is going to impact, which schools they ultimately apply to. And the most important thing that you need are your official transcripts that need to be sent to AMCAS either via snail mail or electronically, depending on what the institutions use. And you need to send official transcripts from every undergraduate institution in the US or Canada where you have either completed or attempted coursework. And this includes any undergraduate institutions where you took classes during high school. Okay. Sometimes those are actually the transcripts that can be delayed because sometimes those, kind of more local colleges to students' homes might use paper transcripts, and those take longer to actually get to AMCAS. So this is something to keep in mind. Now, what do you not need to be verified? Your letters of recommendation do not need to be in order to be verified. You will need those in for a school to actually review your application. You won't actually be reviewed by admissions committees if your letters are in, but your verification will still happen if your letters aren't in. You also don't need a full school list. You just need one school list in order to be verified. And again, students often add schools once they have some pending results that they're waiting for. You don't need to have taken the MCAT. Your MCAT scores are going to be sent to your medical schools automatically. And you also don't need to have taken Casper, and you don't need your Casper results, okay? So how long does the AMCAS verification process take? We find that very early in the process, assuming that there are no issues, that it can take literally it can be as quick as 1 to 2 weeks, okay? As you get further along in the application season, however, it can take longer. So it can take up to 6 weeks. Now, let's go over the most common reasons why verification can be delayed, okay? Usually, it's delayed because of transcript issues, okay? So some things that you need to keep in mind in order to make sure you don't have those transcript issues. You have to have grades on your AMCAS application that you enter for all repeated coursework. You have to send your transcripts from every college where you have taken or attempted undergraduate coursework in the US or Canada. All right, I've already said that, but it's super important, okay? Use the transcript request form that you will download from AMCAS in order to send your transcripts, because that is what matches up the transcript with your application, and it makes the verification process smoother, all right? Have official transcripts next to you when you're entering your coursework into AMCAS, because that's going to make the verification process for the verifier much easier, all right? Literally, someone is going to sit and match up what's on your transcript with what is actually on your application, okay? Your coursework has to be listed chronologically and exactly as it appears on the transcript, okay? Now, for study abroad, if your study abroad courses were sponsored by a US or Canadian institution, you are not required to submit foreign transcripts, all right? You need to enter your study abroad coursework exactly as they appear on the US or Canadian sponsoring institution's transcript, okay? So that's important to understand too. So after you have submitted your AMCAS application and AMCAS has received all of your transcripts, the verification process starts. So that point you kind of get in a queue to be verified. All right. This is why the earlier you get on the queue, the shorter the process is. And the later you get on the queue, the more people are ahead of you and the longer the process takes. The first date this year that applications are being transmitted to medical schools is June 24th. Okay. Now, when you're checking your AMCAS verification status, which you can do sort of via the main menu, you can view your document status there, and you're going to get the status of all of your documents, okay? Whether you've initiated the application but it hasn't yet been submitted, you're waiting for transcripts, you're ready for review, so all transcripts have been received. It's under review, meaning someone's actually looking at your application. You can have a financial hold, which means they're waiting for funds. Now, the issue comes if you get an indication that there's incorrect coursework, because your application's on hold because there's incorrect coursework in your application. Again, if you do this all carefully, this should not happen, okay? If there are incorrect documents, meaning that it's on hold because you have incorrect documents associated with your application. Now, if there are a number of mistakes with missing coursework or failing to enter an original grade, then your application can get returned to you, all right? Again, all of these 3 items for incorrect coursework, incorrect documents, application returned to you, that should all be easily avoidable. It should not happen if you do things correctly, okay? And then once application processing is complete, at that point, it will indicate that, and that's when your application is actually transmitted to your medical schools, and that happens, immediately after that happens. So thank you so much for listening, and you can also refer to the article that is on the website, and we will link that below. Also, feel free to join the MedEdits private pre-med and parents of pre-meds Facebook group, where I will answer questions and where we hopefully can get some interesting dialogue going and support one another as all of you go through the pre-med process. Thank you and have a good night.